Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk a bit about CHRIS EUBANK Jr. And David Haye, because apparently Haye has joined Eubank's training team. I don't know why. I'm at a complete loss to understand what he brings to the party, other than possibly some sort of mental or, some sort of psyche element regarding the way Eubank thinks. Eubank is coming off that very bad loss to Liam Smith. He's opted for the immediate rematch, which is fair enough. Can't knock him for going back into the fire. But what does Haye bring? I mean, I gather they're quite good friends. But maybe what Eubank needs is someone who isn't necessarily a friend, is someone who is going to tell him the home truth, and someone who is a pair of eyes looking from the outside in with no vested interest in massaging Eubank's ego, or who has nothing to lose with telling him exactly what the reality of life is. With Haye, is he going to do that? It's possible he could do that. They say that friends, real friends, give you an honest answer, an honest take on things, but at the same time, look, the whole of Eubank's career has been a mess as far as I'm concerned, and the guy clearly has some talent. But going back to the days when he openly admitted, I don't need a trainer. I know what I'm doing in there. And Ronnie Davis was, the bucket carrier, and I just thought, it sort of smacked of him at least partially trying to be like his father. And his father was a unique character, and his father had many limitations as a fighter, but he also had a lot of attributes. But sometimes, we are not completely our father's sons. Sometimes we need to have our own identity. And I think by the time Eubank decided that he wanted to, cut those apron strings, so to speak, he suddenly decided, well, where am I going to go? Which direction am I going to go with? And he tried it with Adam Booth for a while, and Booth that didn't last long, did it? And he actually had words for Booth afterwards, saying that he'd been disloyal or something like that. I don't know. I don't exactly know the details of it, but that's what Eubank said. And then, he messed around. There was for one fight, he had a kind of an unknown American trainer, whose name I can't remember. And then he hooked up with Roy Jones, and Roy Jones, without question, was a great fighter, but he was a unique talent. Technically, he did everything wrong, or most things wrong. So what's he going to teach Eubank, who doesn't have anywhere near Roy Jones's, ability, unique talents, footwork? I mean, Eubank is relatively flat-footed, or quite flat-footed. Jones was anything but. He doesn't have the reactions of Eubank. Occasionally in fights, you would see him try to sort of ape the Jones style. I saw absolutely no movement in the right direction by Eubank teaming up with Roy Jones. And a couple of people have said, "Oh, well, he improved in this way." And no, I don't think he did. I think he actually, all right, he may have done one or two minor intricacies differently, and perhaps even better, but it actually sat upon his natural style and reduced the effectiveness of the things that got him up to sort of fringe world level anyway. I don't think Eubank has ever been proper world level. I think he sort of nudged it, but not really moved into world level properly, as he should have done. Infamously, he turned down the Gennady Golovkin fight, which Kell Brook ended up taking. He constantly called out people and never took the opportunities that were there. He had that aborted, rather ridiculous fight with Conor Benn, which, as far as I'm concerned, was always a gimmick fight. Eubank Jr., certainly over the last 4 or 5 years, has been about the money, about picking up the big paychecks. And that's why he took the Liam Smith fight. And that's why he's taken the rematch. He wants to right the wrong. He's made ridiculous assertions that the first fight was stopped prematurely, when it clearly wasn't. In fact, if anything, Eubank was allowed to carry on longer than he should have been. So I don't see what Haye brings to the party. It's possible he's seen something that others haven't, but he's not the head trainer. I mean, he's just an advisor, and Jones Jr. remains the head trainer. I remember, I'm going back now a long way, 30 plus years, to when Derek Williams, the British heavyweight, was about to fight Lennox Lewis, and he brought in Angelo Dundee into his camp. I don't think Dundee was the head trainer. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but he was sort of saying, well, why is Dundee there? What's he doing? And Dundee, they showed it. I remember seeing a few snippets of training footage, and Dundee was making one or two very obvious sort of directions. Well, you need to do this, you need to do that. When he does this, you do that. And it all seemed to smack of Dundee being hired simply because he was Angelo Dundee was the name. And of course, going into the fight, it may have beefed up Derek Williams' confidence. Not so much really when you saw the fight. Lewis completely dominated him and knocked him out in 3 rounds. But it may have had that effect, could have had that effect. Maybe that was the idea. And likewise, talking of Lennox Lewis, when Lennox was brought in in an advisory role for David Price in the rematch with Tony Thompson, I mean, that didn't have any effect. Thompson lost. Price lost that fight by stoppage to Thompson. He ran out of gas. He was so exhausted. All that nervous energy burnt him out. So bringing in a name, it just seems rather foolish to me. And I could be wrong, but am I missing something? I don't think so. I think this is just another piece of window dressing that isn't really going to do Eubank a lot of good. If Eubank wins this fight, it won't be because David Haye has stepped into the fray. A little bit of a rhyme for you there. I'm spitting bars. But then I could be wrong. But then again, if Eubank was to win the rematch with Liam Smith, could you give Haye any credit? I would say not really. But then maybe, like I say, maybe I've missed something. You leave your comments below. You tell me what I'm missing, if I'm missing anything. It smacks of a sort of gimmicky, a little bit of an attempt at a psychological quirk, but nothing special. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below. And of course, yeah, as always, thanks for your time. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.